Speaking of New York, a legend of New York sports. His number hangs from the rafters at Madison Square Garden. Now the head coach of the Georgetown Hoyas, Patrick Ewing, joins us on Lunch Talk Live. You know, I had you on before Jim Boeheim, so this is my olive branch for all the years of Syracuse and Georgetown rivalry, Patrick.
Well, I really appreciate that because I know you're a Syracuse guy. But, I'm honored to be on. We've been knowing each other for a lot of years here. And I always love to finally I get an opportunity to beat Syracuse and Coach Boeheim as a coach. And, we had opportunities my first 2 years. But this past season, we were able to finally get a win.
You didn't have to remind us, but thanks for doing that. We appreciate it. Hey, you know what? Before we get into Jordan, The Last Dance, the Dream Team, your Georgetown team, I just want to ask you about getting the seat, the big seat, the head coaching seat, because you were an NBA assistant for 15 years and a really good one with some terrific coaches along the way. And you never got that NBA opportunity. What does it mean to you that you've had the opportunity now at Georgetown, a seat that was filled for a long time in a legendary fashion by a guy who means so much to you and John Thompson?
It means a lot to be here. I look at it as it's come full circle. I started as a player and now I'm here as an head coach. All the things that Coach Thompson was able to help me to become, now it's my turn to try to help to do the same for the kids that I coach. And in terms of not being an NBA head coach, it is what it is. I was there. I tried my hardest to be an NBA head coach. I worked for some great coaches, and I learned a lot. All the things that I learned there, is helping me to be a great college coach. So, I relish the opportunity to be a coach.
Patrick, in a practice, up on the board, doing X's and O's, do you ever catch yourself repeating phrases of Pat Riley, Jeff Van Gundy, Stan Van Gundy, Coach Thompson, all the coaches you had? Do you ever say, oh my gosh, I'm starting to sound like those guys now?
There definitely are times, and, just like you said, they're great coaches. They're people, I'm blessed to be a part of some great trees, Jeff, Stan, Coach Thompson, Pat Riley, Rick Pitino, all those people that I was able to play for and also work with, including Steve Clifford, Tom Thibodeau. All of those guys have helped to shape and mold me to be the best coach I can possibly be.
Patrick, let me stay on the Georgetown stuff here for a second. What do you see as the future of college basketball? You were a great player coming out of Cambridge Ridge, a great player, best in the country, and you made it to 3 Final Fours. I mean, if a guy is on campus for 3 years and he's a good player now, that's like a big story. It's changed. The world does evolve. What do you see as the future for college basketball at the highest level right now?
Well, it's interesting because, of course, everyone who plays any sport, they want to get to the highest level. And basketball is the NBA. So now that you have the G League and then they have this other G League that they have just started. So a lot of the best players, and some of them have already started migrating to that. So a lot of kids, instead of going to college, they're going to start going to this alternate G League, or even to Europe, like some of them have already done. So it'll be interesting to see how it's going to shake out. What are these top players going to do? Are some of them going to continue to go to college and hopefully, one, get their degree and then also get to the next level? If I was living in this era, I made a promise to my mother that I was graduate. She wanted me to be one of the first to graduate in our family, and I was able to achieve that. But if I was living in this era, I'm not sure if I probably would have came back and finished, but I doubt that I would have stayed all 4 years. And for me, it was great. My Georgetown experience, my college experience was 4 of the best years of my life. And those are the things I try to, tell my kids that, with a Georgetown education, you can do a lot of different things. And I was blessed to be able to play 17 years in the NBA. But now my next calling is to try to educate and try to teach these kids.
All right, let's talk about the era that you had. Your Georgetown era includes Michael Jordan playing on the other side of that national championship game in the Superdome in New Orleans, and obviously you were Dream Team teammates, the head-to-head battles with the Knicks and the Bulls. You said earlier on that you weren't watching a lot of The Last Dance, the Jordan documentary. Have you found yourself watching a little bit more each week?
I watched a little bit the last night, just a little. It's hard because I've lived through it, and a lot of the stories that they're talking about I've already known. So I watch a little, then I turn it off, do something else. But it's great. Michael Jordan was and is a great player. He was one of the best things that ever happened to the NBA. I was unfortunate, but fortunate to play against him and play with him. We played together we won 2 Olympic gold medals together in '84 and '92. And he was the person that stopped me from, possibly winning a ring. But when you're playing any sport, you want to play at the best and you want to beat the best. And right then he was the best, so I wanted to beat him.
In going back and watching these shows, Patrick, you realize how good these teams were. Not just in the East with the Pistons and the Celtics, your Knicks teams as you guys built, but then you start looking at the West and all the teams that played in the finals, how good that Seattle team was, the Phoenix team with Chuck in his MVP season. When you look at it, it just feels different than the current NBA. As a guy who lived through it and then coached recently in this current NBA, am I wrong for thinking that the teams were stronger and better back then than they are now?
Well, I'm not going to say that. I think the difference is, a lot, like Golden State, they had what 4 or 5 all stars on the team. The Lakers, they have a lot of all-stars. Miami, they started with LeBron and Wade and those guys, Bosh. All these guys are teaming up. Whereas when we played, you might have 1, maybe 2 all-star, like Chicago had Michael and Scotty that played together. So it was a lot different. It was like back when the league first started, where Boston had a lot of great players, and the Lakers had a lot of great players. Wilt, Jerry West, and all those, Elgin Baylor, and all those guys. So,
what was it like to be a part of those Dream Team practices in Barcelona?
Oh, it was great. The practices they were much better than the games. The games we easily demolished everyone that we played against, but the practice. That's where it was all what that was all about. Everyone was the great in their own right. You have Michael, who was at the top of the list. Magic, who at one point he was at the top of the list, and he and Michael jockeying to see who's the new dog, who's the new sheriff, and then all of us, fall into line. There were some great practices. Everyone was trying to, show that they're dominant.
You went up against David Robinson in a bunch of those practices, right?
Yes, we did. David and I battled each other, so he and I were trying to make sure that that everybody knows that we are great in our own right. Even though all the shots were going to Magic and to all those guys, we still wanted to make sure that everybody knew that we were great also.
In the documentary, you got the feel of Michael trying to take that mantle from Magic. Did you guys sense that as those games were going on?
Oh yes, they were both talking. They were both talking so much trash. Michael was definitely wanting Magic to know that I am the new sheriff. I am the alpha male, and Magic wanted to keep him back. No, I'm still the man. And so we would sit back and we would listen to it, and we would add fire, fan the flames. But no, it was some great times.
I can only imagine. You alluded to this earlier, Patrick. I mean, you are 1,180 games in the league. You averaged almost 20 and 10. I think 11-time All-Star. How does it feel when you've had for a #1 pick in the #1 market, a great career that could have been very different and included that championship if not for the presence of Michael Jordan. As you look back at it in time now, how does it make you feel?
Well, first of all, I feel like I've had a great career. Regardless if I won a ring or not. I was fortunate enough to get to the finals twice. Once I was able to play, and we came very close to beating Houston. The next time we got back there, I was hurt, tore my Achilles. But Michael was the person that stood between us and possibly winning a championship or getting back there more. We lost to them. We played them 6 times, and we were only able to beat them once. So he was the person that kept me from, moving, playing in more finals. But, I still look back at it. I still cherish the times I had. I still cherish my teammates. And I thought that, I had a great career. I have no regrets.
You shouldn't. All right, I want to ask you lastly as we leave about Georgetown, but I'm not going to let you sit here and talk Georgetown basketball without equal representation. So I'll put my Syracuse hat on for this question. Tell me about next year. Glad I got you there. Mac McClung, who was a sophomore for you, real coming on player, but he hurt his foot. He missed most of the end of the season, 10 of the last 11 games. He put his name in for the draft. Anything on him and what he's going to do, and what does it look like for you guys next year?
Well, we're still, waiting for him to make that decision if he's going to come back or not. I think he has until the 15th of June to make that determination. Jamarco Pickett, who also put his name in the draft, he decided that he's going to come back. Omer York 7, he's going to stay into the draft. Kudus Wahad, Timothy Higo-Hefe, Javon Blair. All those guys will be back. They will be our core. Also, Malcolm Wilson. They will be our core going into next year. And we are added six players, 4 freshmen and 2 grad transfer to round out our roster. So, we still feel our future is bright. We're still, it's going to be hard to get us to gel with the fact that the corona issue is still looming all over not only the country but the world. So it'll be interesting to see when we're able to get back together and when we'll be able to start, doing some things so that we can gel and become a more cohesive unit.
Yeah, the Big East is very good with all the teams there. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's still really good, and it's not easy to start rebuilding there. Patrick, it's hard to say, but I actually would like to see Georgetown do well because of you. You've been so wonderful to us over the years covering the NBA too. Thanks for talking about Michael and the Knicks and all that stuff, and we wish you the best down there in DC. And we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.